My topic is on future skills, and I'll just put it on the presentation mode. Are you able to see the slides, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in today's world, things are changing so rapidly with automation coming, with AI coming everywhere. There are issues everywhere globally, discussions happening. What are the future skills? So there's a forum called World Economic Forum, which is based in Davos in Switzerland. Every year it has the sessions where there are a lot of senior people from the industry, from different corporates, learned individuals from universities. They all come and discuss about what's going on in the industry, in the world, and what are the things expected, what are the changes happening. And these are some of the skills which have been identified in terms of future skills for the next till 2030, which talks about creative thinking, analytical thinking, artificial intelligence and big data, which is nowadays a big thing. Focus on leadership and social intelligence, resilience, flexibility, and agility. Talks about curiosity and lifelong learning, a very important area now as things are changing rapidly. Technology literacy, with so much change happening in technology, a lot of focus going around that space, which is very important. Understanding design and user experience, whether it's customer experience or graphic experience, whatever area you're looking at. And then talk about motivation and self-awareness. That's basically focusing on emotional intelligence aspect. And empathy and active listening. While people talk about a lot of communication, but within communication, the most important aspect is active listening, which is really critical before you make any decision on those things. So these are something of the top 10 which I'd like to touch upon and mention as to how these things are. Now, going forward, how do we remember these skills? So I looked at an easy way to learn and remember. And these are called CET model, basically cognitive, emotional intelligence, and technology. Where under cognitive skills, you have the creative thinking, analytical thinking, curiosity, and lifelong learning. Today, analytical thinking is most important for everyone in every role, wherever they are in terms of whichever industry they are working or whichever job they are doing or doing their own business. You need to analyze every aspect of environment, every kind of situation. So that's one of the most important aspects to look at. And so is curiosity, which helps you in taking the initiative and learning what's new is happening, why it is happening, and how it is happening. So that's an important area to focus on. Comes to emotional intelligence, which talks of individual and also working with others. So these 4 skills are really important, looking from the perspective of developing self as well as working in a collaborative manner and also communicating with people in terms of how you're going to interact. Also being sensitive towards others in terms of empathy and also keeping yourself very open to flexibility and being agile, which are very important in changing times. In terms of technology, technology literacy is very important. Everyone needs to be illiterate in terms of understanding how to work on computers, on the basic piece. For example, let's say software, MS Office, you need to be really strong on that aspect. Also understand what are the changes happening in technology space, what's new coming, like ChatGPT came in, Copilot has been launched. All those things, how they are fruitful and effective in terms of use rather than thinking of using it in a negative way. Then comes artificial intelligence and big data, which is nowadays the talk for everyone as to how the world is changing, how much of big data is getting generated with so much of automation happening, whether through IoT or whether on data analytics piece coming in a big way. So that's another space which is growing big and changing a lot of lifestyles and a lot of thought process around the world. And the last one is design and user experience. So this is something like a small model, easy to remember in terms of cognitive skills, which are those what is emotional intelligence skills, and what is technology in terms of the three top brackets or areas where you can focus. And then underneath are those aspects. Now, as these are skills which have been talked about globally, these are the needs for everyone. There are also needs for students, right? What are things which we need to focus on? So I'll touch upon connecting with these skills. So in 21st century skills, right, what job market is looking for students? So they are learning skills, they are literacy skills, and life skills. So these are three areas where you need to have skills. Now, what kind of skills? Under learning skills, there are 4 C's I have put it. These are critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. So easy to remember 4 C's. It's creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, communication. If you look at on the right side, the screen, it talks about future skills, how they are connecting with all these 4, which are important. Communication, a very key mode in terms of when you're working with them. Collaboration, extremely important when we are working with different set of people across the organizations and at different locations. How you're going to work, that's where empathy and active listening comes into play. Creativity is the most important aspect in today's time as to how you're looking at reinventing yourself, always with today's automation happening and so much technology change happening. Critical thinking for sure is very important, like analytical thinking. You need to analyze a lot of things and figure out how you're going to take things forward. And those are some things very, very important in these aspects. Now, those are skills which need to be developed, right? And these are some things, it comes by working on it, identifying how you're going to work on that, and that's the things comes. Then comes the literacy skills. I've named it IMT, that's information, media, and technology. Information, you need to understand what are the changes happening on the tech space in terms of AI and big data. At least get to know what it is. That is also very important. A lot of people don't even know what it is. They just know generic that, okay, this is AI and this. So it's important to understand what are these topics and what are these subjects about. Media piece, how do the user experience happens? For example, you use your mobile phone, right? It's a place where all the aspects come into play from, it generates a lot of big data, it has AI coming in, user experience comes in from technology firms, all those aspects come in, and that's very important. Third is technology. As earlier said, understanding technology literacy is important. As even if you work on basic projects, it is important to know how you're going to use the technology tool to become better, get to know what are the basic skills needed to understand technology, whether it's a software or whether it's a language you're trying to learn. So those are some things which are important. And the third one is life skills. These are required every now and then, whether it's professional or personal, of understanding flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. I have named it FLIP, easy to remember in terms of the 3 words. So flexibility is important because you need to be flexible in today's time. You need to understand the other's perspective, right? Understand from where that person is thinking, what's the process, why it is, and be adaptable around that space. And that's very, very important in today's time as things keeps changing. Leadership, you need to demonstrate, you need to carry along with everyone if you are a member of a team or you're leading a team. Initiative, very important. Unless you are curious, you don't figure out what is going on, why it is. It's very important. And in today's world, with things changing so rapidly, you need to have a lifelong learning approach, which will help you grow in your career. And that's something where the focus has to come in for every individual. Productivity, yes, you need to be motivated and be self-aware as to how you're going on, right? It's the piece of being consistent in your work rather than thinking that, okay, today I'm motivated, I'll do this, and after 1 week or 2 weeks, I don't do this. So consistency and discipline piece works under this space. And then the last one is social skills, which are needed as part of interpersonal aspect of your working with everyone. and it requires empathy and active listening, which is very important while you're doing for your personal level or professional level. These aspects are really important. So these are some things which I just wanted to highlight and touch upon, these skills, which are critical with respect to students, as well as how the world is looking at these certain skills. For students, I restate again, there are learning skills, there is literacy skills and life skills, which are important. And this will help them in terms of their professional development, as well as to grow in future. So I'd like to stop here and on what I touched. Now I'll invite Professor Kalyan to talk about design thinking, and then possibly we'll take up questions later to these pieces. Thank you, Professor Kalyan. Kindly take over from here.
Good evening once again. And I welcome you to the session on how you can use design thinking to bring it to perform. Now, this is quite opportune because when you think about the career that you have chosen and the path that you would like to follow,
you will probably come across a different kind of a world from the world that you would have been used to. And we all come from a world where we look at how we can solve problems, and I'm sure you are, as preparation for various management school exams, you're also looking at how you can solve various different kinds of problems. So what was quite interesting was to look at the kind of problems that are asked in business school entrance exams these days. So this is something which I saw, which has been asked in 2018. And I'm pretty sure while it is a bit complicated, maybe it's a bit challenging, it can be done. It can be done within the allotted time. And this is something you, as a student appearing for various management school admission tests, would be required to do. Or you look at another problem, which is about number theory. And again, this kind of a problem can be solved. Now, dare I say, if I were to ask you this question, that have you ever come across a problem that has defied you? Perhaps the answer will be no. And with some time, with some thinking, with some guidance, with some help, maybe it is quite possible for you to look at any different or any number of challenging problems. Now, this is where we enter after you join the business school and go through 2 years of rigorous learning, training, and coaching. You join the business world. And one of the first things that you realize in the business world is that the business world is what is known as VUCA, which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And this is based on how much you know about the situation and how can you predict the future. So that makes business world very different from the kind of world that we have been living in, where things were more or less deterministic. Now, in business, we come across two types of problems. One class of problems are known as STEAM problems, where you have a well-defined problem statement. You can get to the solution. There is a right or wrong answer. And in the past, what you may have done may have helped you solve this problem.